Here's something in the background. Good morning, everybody. How are we? Let me just find something that's going on here. There we are. Good morning, everybody. Let's stop that. A few tech issues this morning. Hello. How are we? Good to see you all. We are live. Come and join us. Let's see if anyone's going to turn up. Right. It's a very wet, cold Saturday morning here in Melbourne. It feels like winter is on its way already. This is not fair. We've not had a great summer. Not been a long summer, that's for sure. Anyway, okay, so today's live topic. Today I'm talking about why February is the month that our goals, particularly our weight loss goals, go to die, and how to be one of the 2% who actually don't let this happen and actually succeed in your weight loss journey. Did you know that 98% of dieters, people who are trying to lose weight, are never actually successful because of how they're trying to lose the weight? And so when we want to look for more sustainable methods, long-term solutions when it comes to weight loss, and this whole sort of February, I guess, phenomenon, this February scenario is quite common. It's quite sad. Apparently, at this time of the year, February is the time that a lot of gym, like the weight loss industry, people just, I guess, fall off their weight loss goals. So if we step back to January, New Year's time, a lot of people are making the New Year's, New Me resolutions to themselves. They want to get fit, they want to get healthy. This year I'm gonna do it, no more excuses, rah-de-rah-de-rah. This is the month where, in the gym industry, things like gym memberships skyrocket, PTs become a lot busier, they have a lot more bookings, more sign-ups. Also things like, within the diet industry, things like diet shakes and diet plans and cleanses and juice plans and all that sort of stuff, all of those sales skyrocket as well. So there's a lot of people out there making these New Year's resolutions for themselves about getting fitter, getting healthier, losing the weight. This time I'm going to do it. I promise I'm going to stick to my plans. And yeah, and that's sort of the attitude that we kind of take with New Year. And New Year is like, it's just another day, but it is kind of like it is a good year for reflection, for setting new goals. And, when it comes to things like weight loss and health, that used to be me several years ago, in terms of, that whole New Year, New Me mentality. I was going to completely reinvent myself and become a completely new person overnight. And I would set out the new year, trying to change everything all at once, like getting back to really clean eating, particularly after the Christmas and New Year holiday season. Letting things go off track a little bit. I'd be getting back to the gym, hitting the gym with gusto, or trying to go for runs. I would feel like a bit of a I don't know, feeling really sort of not great in my body, not great in my skin, particularly in those years when I was really struggling with my weight. And it was like, I've got to do something about this. I need to change what I'm doing. I need to get back to who I was. When I was a younger child, when I was more fit and healthy, I really want to become that person again. And so it was almost like I just needed to kind of turn everything around all at once and reinvent myself. And how I approached that New Year's resolution is how I see a lot of people approaching it at this time of year as well, or just approaching weight loss in general. And it's because we're sitting in a place of pain. We're not loving our body. We're not loving how we feel. We're not loving how we look. Hey Vicky, good to see you. And Anne, hello. And when we are in pain, when we are not loving how we feel, not loving how we look, and we're sitting in that place of pain, we tend to want to be in a hurry to achieve our goal. We want results fast. So we're looking for fast solutions, things that are going to turn things around quickly. We become more susceptible to, like lose 30 pounds in 30 days type messages. We tend to think that we've got to go out fast and hard and change everything all at once. We just want to feel good about ourselves again. We want to feel proud. We want that end result as soon as possible because we want to like what we see in the mirror. We want to feel good in our skin. We want to be able to fit into our clothes again. So it becomes all about the hurry to get to the end goal. We want to go from being in pain to not being in pain, right? We've really got pain as our motivator in this situation. And when we are in a hurry because we're in pain, that's when we tend to want to change everything all at once. We tend to want to do something drastic. We tend to want to do a complete 180 on ourselves. We tend to want to go to the extreme. We might go from eating a diet that might be high in processed foods or sugars, to eating salads and dry baked potatoes and steamed vegetables, like completely the opposite end of the spectrum. We might go from completely like party season, over drinking, staying out loud every night to I'm never having another drink again. I'm giving up alcohol. We might go from complete couch potato, never having done any exercise, to wanting to suddenly, or pretending that we're suddenly going to be at the gym 5 days a week, or going for a run every single day. So we try to do all of that at once, and I know that used to be kind of the mentality that I took too, because I just wanted those results quickly. We go from one extreme to the other, and what we're doing is we're literally trying to become a new version of us right now. And so, I think if your goal is to lose, say, 50 pounds, for example, then what I see most people doing is they're trying to act like that 50-pound lighter version of them right now. And it's helpful to know what it is that 50-pound lighter version of you might be doing. Absolutely. And I know that this is the way a lot of other prominent plant-based weight loss experts teach weight loss as well. But I completely disagree with this because I see that it doesn't work, and I know that it didn't work for me. I know that people like Chef AJ, Healthy Emmy, for example, maybe Dr. McDougall, we've got the Mary's Mini program as well. They're trying to focus on, going from who you are now to straight away being that person, that version of you at the end goal right now. It's all about everything that, it's all about perfection and restriction right from the word go. And that's what I see most people trying to focus on the weight loss journey. They say, oh, I need to lose weight. So, the thing to do is to eat nothing but baked potatoes and steamed vegetables. Because that's how it's taught, that's how they teach it. But, I don't even eat baked potatoes and steamed veg. And, I refuse to teach something that I don't do either. I don't see that there's nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong with baked potatoes and steamed veg. I just don't think we need to go to that level of extreme right from the word go. It's not appealing to most people, and it can be very hard to sustain right from the word go. That's the sort of thing that I see you doing as you're getting closer to being that 50-pound lighter version of you. You don't need to start that right now. So what I usually see people doing is they start that new year with their new goals and that new year mentality, and then with pain as their motivator and the desire for quick results in their mind, they're doing this complete 180, changing their diet drastically, they're joining a gym, and then they set out feeling motivated and ready to take on the world. And then they're eating their baked potatoes and steamed vegetables, and they're going to the gym 5 days a week. And then 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks into the journey, during this month of February, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I just need a break. Or, I've been so good, I deserve a treat. I just want to feel good again, right? They thought this was going to lead to them feeling and less pain, and they've just gone and put themselves through a lot more pain. Right? What they've done, they've made the journey really painful and hard on themselves. So again, they need to escape from it. And they might take one little break or one little treat, and that tends to be enough to bring back old, familiar, comfortable habits racing back into their life and ready to take over their life again. It's like, oh, that feels better. Now I feel like I'm in pleasure, right? That was painful. Oh, this feels so much better. And it just brings so much more relief to stop what they're doing and going back to habits that felt comfortable and familiar and safe, right? And that's where the dreams go to die. That's where the dreams and the goals stop. And when they stop, before you know it, this is when they start convincing themselves that this is too hard. I guess I just don't want this goal enough. I can't do it. I'm a failure. Look at me. I just keep falling off track. I can't do this. I guess I'm just meant to be overweight. Or I guess I'm just meant to be fat and sassy, as one of my clients used to say to herself. So hands up if you recognize yourself in this pattern. Have you done this to yourself before? I know I have. I'll put my hand up over here. I certainly recognize this. And it certainly is painful when you go through it, when you try and change everything all at once, and then, oh my God, it's exhausting, and you just need a break, and you just want some semblance of normality and safety and comfort and familiarity from the habits and the patterns that you once had. And quitting in that moment feels better than continuing. All right, so hands up if you recognize that pattern in yourself. So I want to talk you through why this happens now. There is nothing wrong with you if this happens. You are not broken, and you are also not incapable of achieving your goal. So if you've been telling yourself that story, I want you to stop telling yourself this story. The more you tell yourself this story, the more you believe it. Our beliefs are just things that we've told ourselves over and over and over and over and over and over and over until we believe it. Not necessarily true, right? Your beliefs are just thoughts, and your thoughts are not necessarily true. You think they're true, but just because you've been telling yourself this over and over and over. And the thing is, the more you believe these things that you tell yourself, then the more evidence your brain shows you that it's true, and the more evidence you create in your life that backs up that it's true, right? So you think you've got all this evidence around you that you can't do it, and that's just true. No, your belief is what causes the evidence, then backs up the belief. So I want you to stop telling yourself the story that there is something wrong with you, that you are broken, that you're incapable of achieving this goal, right? Instead, ask yourself, what else is possible? What if the opposite was actually true, right? That's going to help you fire up your brain and get you thinking, right? So what's happening here is that when you try and change what you're doing, who you're being, you are literally working against your brain's desire not to change. Your brain is programmed to run as much of your life on autopilot as possible, which means without conscious thinking. And this includes things like your beliefs, this includes things like your thoughts, your identity, your habits. It includes everything in your life. And why is that? So if you think about how the brain is made up, 95% of what happens in the activity in the brain is happened in that unconscious, primitive part of the brain, the habit brain. And only 5% of the activity that goes on in your brain is in the conscious part, which is your prefrontal cortex, or the human part of your brain, the part that differentiates us from all the other animals on the planet. So when you, and why is this? Right, so the unconscious mind is very, very efficient, right? It doesn't need much energy in order to run everything that goes on there. That part of your brain is responsible for operating all of the organs in your body. When you move your arms and legs, you may think, I want to lift my arm up, but you don't literally think about all of the little muscles and tendons and everything in there that need to move in order to create that movement. That just happens automatically. That's all stuff that the primitive brain is responsible for. How you think, how you see yourself, your identity, that's all driven in that unconscious part of the brain. So it's very, very efficient. And we've actually got, apparently, computer programmers are looking at that part of the brain in order to understand how it works so efficiently, so that they can make computers run as efficiently, like use less energy. And then we've got that human part of our brain, the conscious part of our brain. This part is the most energy inefficient part of the body. And so anything we do in here requires a lot of energy. A lot of energy is burnt when we think consciously. So when you are setting out to achieve new goals and create change in your life, you are literally trying to either pull programs, call your habits and your patterns and everything like that, everything you do on autopilot, think of it like a computer program that is stored into that part of that unconscious part of your mind. You're literally pulling out a program from the unconscious mind and bringing it up into the conscious brain to start reprogramming it as such. Or you're literally trying to create a new program in that conscious mind and perfect it in here, so then it can go back and be stored in your unconscious mind and become a habit. So when you are trying to change a lot of habits all at once, there is a lot of work that's going on in here consciously. It's very, very tiring. And it's exhausting. It uses a lot of energy. So I want you to think about this in terms of a metaphor for you. And I've just said, I keep freezing up. I'm sorry if I've got internet issues, guys. It's not coming through on my end, and my phone video seems to be working okay. So I'm just going to assume the stream is going okay at most people's ends. Anyway, so I want you to think about this this metaphor for you in terms of your brain and what's going on. So think about, you have a team of computer programmers, and their job is to create a bunch of new programs for the market. Say they've got a stash of programs that are all over there, they're all selling and they're going really well, and they're all in storage. And what they want to do now is start to create some new programs. So they might be used to creating maybe one, maybe two programs at a time, new programs. They might have to refresh an old one, but they're used to a certain amount of workload. And now comes New Year's resolutions, and suddenly, oh my God, they've been given the task of creating 10 brand new programs and given the task of updating 20 existing programs all at once. And they've been given a short period of time, a couple of months, 2-3 months, in which to achieve it. They're sitting there freaking out. Okay, right. But they have also been told that if they take on this new workload, they're going to be handsomely rewarded at the end. Like, they're going to get so many benefits. They'll be sitting pretty for the rest of their lives. They'll never have to worry about money again. They're just going to love life. They're going to be able to retire and just go and live on a yacht or an island somewhere, right? So they're incentivized and they're motivated to get going and achieve this result, because boom, if we can do all of this all at once, we get that big incentive fast, and then we can just be happy. Right? So I want you to liken this to when you incentivize yourself with rewards of like looking great, feeling great, wearing the clothes, feeling great about yourself and your body and your skin, and life will just be wonderful at the end, and you'll never have to think about your body and your weight again. Right? So you've got all this promise of bliss when you're done, and you're going to do it in a very short space of time so that you can feel that bliss quickly. And so you're highly, highly motivated to get going. All right, so getting back to the programmer metaphor, think about the programmers in your, these are like the programmers in your brain. So they set out with gusto, these programs, they set out with gusto to make all these changes. They're creating new programs that go, 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 working long hours, and they're doing all the refreshers on the old programs, and they go, 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 and they're motivated because that goal at the end is driving them. So they start out strong. And then a few weeks in, 4, 5, 6 weeks in, they're exhausted. They can't keep up. They're working crazy, crazy hours. They haven't seen their families. They haven't socialized. They're completely overwhelmed. They're stressed out. They just want a break. They just want life to go back to normal, right? How many of you have been in a working situation where you've had something like that? You've had a project where you've just got to go, 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 get it done, and it's like, can this just be over? All right? And then they start to say something like, oh, stuff the money, it's not worth all this drama, not worth all this stress and this anxiety and this pressure. We can't do it. This is impossible. This is what we do to ourselves when we take on too much change in our lives all at once. This is what is going on inside of our brain as we try and change old programs, change old habits, and adopt new habits all at once. And we try and make big changes, big sweeping changes in our life all at once. It's too much change all at once. It's overwhelming, it's exhausting, it's frustrating, it leads you to want a break. It leads you to feeling the need to quit. It leads you to wanting to just relax, cheat on yourself. It leads you to telling yourself things like, I can't do it. This is too hard. It's not for me. I'm a failure. Look at me. I've tried again. It just doesn't work. Something's going wrong. What am I doing? Right? It's just because we try and usually take on too much all at once. So how do you not let February be the month where you get exhausted and overwhelmed and you let your weight loss goals go to die? Well, you do the opposite of changing everything all at once. You take on your change in bite-sized chunks. You start with things like, I call it looking for the low-hanging fruit, right? What are the simple changes that I can make today? Start with your food. Like, okay, where is some unnecessary eating that I can remove first? Where am I eating that has nothing to do with hunger? Where am I eating just because I'm bored? Just because it's there? Just because it's free? Just because someone brought it into the office and, well, you know, everyone else is eating it, so I might as well, because someone gave it to me. Where are you maybe finishing kids' plates where you don't need to? Where are you finishing off leftovers where you don't need to? Where are you just finishing your plate when you're actually already satisfied? Where is any unnecessary eating going on in your life that you can just literally start to pay attention to and stop? I bet over a week, over a month, over a year, that paying attention to little behaviors like that is going to add up in terms of the calories that you put into your body. So just start with that little habit. Where can I just start paying attention to the unnecessary eating in my life and work on that as a habit? You could also look at making some simple adjustments to what you are eating. If you haven't yet transitioned to plant-based, if you are on the, if you're trying to transition, you're trying to make that first step, you could just look to say, okay, what meals do I already make where I can switch out the meat or the dairy or whatever it is for a plant-based alternative? And that way I'll lower the calorie density of that food. So every time I have a meal, I'm eating less calories. Right, that's an easy way. For example, things like spaghetti bolognese, for example. You could change that out to a cauliflower bolognese. I've got a great cauliflower bolognese recipe if anyone would like that. Just say, type cauliflower in the comments and I'll drop that one to you. You could, what else? You could, if you love other pasta dishes, for example, you can just make a basic tomato sauce with some garlic and some basil and a little bit of onion maybe, or what else do we have? A little bit of chili. Just make it really simple and tasty. If you like a pizza, you could just remove the cheese. You don't need cheese on a pizza. Like, you can put enough flavorings and herbs and things like that onto the pizza to make it delicious. What else can you do? There's many different things. Like, you can switch out things like scrambled eggs for scrambled tofu, or just change to something like oats. Where are the simple changes that you can be making, and start looking for the easy things first. If you need to snack between meals because either you're not eating enough at your meals, or your body just needs some more energy, if you're getting hungry between meals, if you're currently snacking on junk, right, I'm going to call it junk, processed junk. If you're currently snacking on processed foods, how about switching that out? There's an easy switch to switch on fruit instead. That helps you to lower the calorie density and up the nutrient quality, right? How can you, if you are plant-based already, but you're struggling to make some changes, how can you just look at your plate and what you're eating and make some simple adjustments to lighten the calorie load? So where you might be having just a big bowl of pasta on its own with, say, marinara sauce, you could split up that plate to have half a plate of pasta and have a big green salad with it, or you could have some veggies on the other half of the plate as well, and that is easily going to lower the calorie density without lowering the overall volume of food that goes into your stomach, so you will remain satiated. If your struggle is water, if you're not drinking enough water, say you're not even drinking any, you're a coffee addict, so how can you look at gently increasing what you consume by 1 cup at a time? Rather than saying I should be drinking between 2 and 3 litres and trying to go straight from nothing to 2 to 3 litres, what you want to do is just gently increase, gently increase, gently increase. Start with 1 cup. And when you're in the habit of drinking 1 cup, make it 2 cups. Or start with a small bottle that you can easily get through in a day. Anything that you are starting to add into your life is going to be beneficial. But if you try and go from 0 water to 3 litres a day, oh my God, you're going to say to yourself, I can't do this. This is too much change, because you're not in the habit of constantly drinking water throughout your day. As you become more familiar and you set yourself routines with drinking water in your day, you can then start to increase the volume that you are drinking. When you get used to 1 litre, then you can start to up it to 1.5 litres, and so on. You just start to gently challenge yourself to do a little bit more. Same with sleep. Like, if you're not getting enough sleep at the moment, say you're getting 5 hours sleep, and you suddenly go, I should be getting 8 hours sleep, so therefore I'm going to go to bed 3 hours early and get 8 hours sleep immediately. Well, your body doesn't work like that. Your body needs time to adjust. So adjusting gently will shock the body a lot less. So if you're used to getting 5 hours sleep and going to bed at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, say, your body clock will be set to that, even though your circadian rhythms will be all out of whack. But your body clock will be set to that, so it won't be tired until you are used to going to bed. So you want to gently bring back that bedtime. You can start with 10 to 15 minutes if that works, or you can try half an hour if you want, but just take it in incremental amounts and get used to that new bedtime first. And when you're used to that new bedtime and your body's getting used to falling asleep earlier, then you can start to bring it back earlier, keeping that ultimate goal in mind, but just making those incremental changes so that you get used to that habit, or else your brain will fight with that change, because it will want what is familiar and what is comfortable, because there's a lot of change all at once, right? Make those changes small. If it comes to things like your movement, if you are not currently moving your body, right? Suddenly expecting yourself to go to the gym 5 days a week, going out for a walk every single day or a run every single day. I see people doing this. I see people who clearly haven't run in a long time out there trying to go for a run. And I say, good on them. However, you don't have to start with that. You don't have to start by pushing yourself too hard too soon. You want to start making small commitments to yourself. And it's about starting the habit of doing something. And then it's showing yourself that you can commit to that. And when you can commit to that and when you're used to that, it's about stretching yourself to take it to the next level. So with regards to movement, if you're not moving your body at all now, how can you find 10, 15 minutes in your day just to go for a quick walk? If it's down the street and back, it's less about the what you do and how long you do it. It's about the commitment that you're making to yourself to get out there and become somebody who goes for a walk. All right, so once you start making that commitment to yourself and that 10, 15 minutes feels doable and feels easier, you can then start going, right, half an hour seems really doable. In fact, what will probably happen is you go out for your 15-minute walk and then you just keep going. Right? So sometimes we do just naturally extend, but if we promise to do too much too soon, we tend to fall off track because it's all too much too soon for the brain. Right? Just get used to those little incremental changes. Any questions, team? So you're not starting out by making a 180 switch. You're looking for, what are some simple changes I can make today? What are some simple changes that I can make today and commit to? Commit to making for the next week, for the next 2 weeks, whatever. Just commit to doing it today and tomorrow and then keep going. And then when you feel familiar and comfortable and it's not too much change, all right, how can I stretch myself and go a little bit further now? And incrementally, as you do that, you start to become the person. Your identity starts to change. You start to become a person who moves their body. You start to become a person who prioritizes plants on their plate over animal foods, over processed foods. You start to become the person bit by bit. And I want you to pay attention to what's working as you do this as well, rather than focusing on what's not, because our mind naturally wants to focus on all the problems, what's not going well. Wants to show us evidence that backs up that belief that we have locked, that program that we have locked in the back of our brain there that we can't do this. Right? We want to start creating that new program in here that says we can. And what that means is paying attention to what is working, paying attention to how your body is changing, paying attention to how you feel differently in your body, paying attention to how your clothes are fitting, any of the symptoms that you feel in your body, any little signs that show you that something is changing. Use the scale if you've got a good relationship with the scale, but don't rely on the scale only. It's not helpful on its own. You want to be finding the evidence that's working elsewhere as well. Measurements are a great idea. Clothing is always a great idea, but just feeling in your body how you feel is a great way to do it as well. I think it's a good idea to maybe, as you start, track how you're feeling, like what symptoms are you experiencing before you start, and then start to notice how they shift. And you want to keep going, right? You want to keep going. And what I mean by that is keep those small habits going. Commit to those little changes that you're making first. And then keep going. Don't stop there. Don't stop when you've made one change. You want to go, okay, what next? What next? Okay, I got this one down, Pat. Great, what's next? Keep your eye on the prize, but keep your changes small. And as you start to make those first lot of changes and you start to feel comfortable and familiar with those and they start to be going really well, you're starting to see the results, use that as the motivation to take the next step. Take that next step outside of your comfort zone and keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going even if you stuff up. Even if you stuff up every now and then, you haven't screwed everything up. You are working on creating new habits here. And it does take time. It takes, well, some people say it takes 3 weeks. Some people say it takes on average 66 days. Some people say it takes on average like 6 months. I think it depends on what sort of habit you're trying to change or create, um, and how far away it is from where you've started. All right. So it does take time because you're literally building a new program in here. You've got to consciously think about what you're doing all the time as you're creating that new program. And when it's familiar enough, you've done it enough times, you know it works, and it goes back and it becomes a program that you put in the back of your mind. And then suddenly you're on autopilot. All right. So you've got to give it time. It's like this guy's in here, the program developer, testing and testing and retesting and what's working and what's not, and let's just keep going. And then when it's a fully functioning program, it goes back into your habit brain. When you create new habits, here's what happens too. So when you set out to create new habits, this is why I want you to just keep going, even if you stuff up. 20% of the time you'll do it. 80% of the time you'll forget. So given that that is how we normally start, what you want to do is have some reminders. You want to have some visual cues or something that is going to remind you, because this takes a lot of conscious brain work, but we don't want to try and keep everything in our conscious mind or it does get overwhelmed. So you need to have something external to you that reminds you that you are doing this new habit. All right, so whether that is writing down your new menu on a piece of paper and making sure you stick to that new menu so that, you know, at the end of the day, when conscious brain is tired, it doesn't go, oh, I don't know what we're eating today, let's just order in, let's get a pizza, right? Or you don't just wake up in the morning and you know, the alarm goes off and you just naturally hit snooze. You have an alarm that screams at you, get out of bed. Or you have something like Eye of the Tiger that, you know, helps you get up ready to rock and ready to pump and ready to go for the day. All right, you want to have something that is that actual reminder. If you're trying to drink more water, for example, you might have little alarms that go off through the day that remind you, hey, water, 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 water. So remembering that 20% of the time you will do that new habit and 80% of the time you won't to start with. As you start to do it more, that 20% will become 40% and then 60% you still won't be doing it, right? So you still need all those prompters and those reminders. And then it starts to switch. Then it starts to change. 60% of the time you'll be doing that new habit and then 40% of the time you won't. And eventually you'll be up to 80, 90% of the time you'll be doing that new habit. And you'll still have some moments where you won't, and it's okay, right? I'm in the habit now of drinking 2 to 3 liters of water every day, but occasionally I slip up, occasionally I don't, right? So I'm now at that. There's very few times when I don't. Majority of the time I am. So that will happen for you as well, all right? So just remind yourself of that. If you keep slipping up, don't worry, you just got to keep going, keep going, keep going, because it's building that muscle that's going to eventually create a habit for you. Vicky, would homemade popcorn be a good snack to segue from chips? Yes, it would be, but my question to you, Vicky, is are you hungry when you eat it? And that is the first question to ask. Also be aware of popcorn. It may not have the oil in it, but it's still high in calories. It's deceptively high in calories, deceptively calorie dense. And a lot of people have just have a snacking habit. And snacking habits when you're not hungry is one of the things that will prevent losing weight. So maybe that's one of the first habits that you can work on. Like why am I snacking in the first place? Is it habit? Am I hungry? If it's just a habit, maybe that's the habit to work on first. How can I, what emotion might I be trying to avoid? In fact, I'm going to do a separate session at some point on emotional eating too. So you want to ask yourself, what emotion am I either trying to create here, or what am I trying to avoid with this habit, with this nighttime eating habit, or this snacking habit? If you're trying to relieve boredom, how can you truly relieve the boredom without needing to eat? Or can you just sit with boredom? Can you just allow your brain to be bored for a moment? Our brains are so used to not being bored these days. We have so many distractions in our world that we don't allow ourselves to get bored. So sometimes just allowing your brain to sit in the discomfort of boredom is what we need. Anyway, I will come back at some point and do a session on emotional eating so you can start to uncover where you might have some emotional eating behaviors that maybe need to be worked on. Okay, so I hope that answered the question in the meantime. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions from you here? Let me know in the comments. Vicky, I will drop you that cauliflower recipe when we've finished up. I meant to grab myself the link, but I didn't. Okay, so as you're changing habits, you want to take it slowly. You want to allow for the fact that you won't be doing it 100% right off the bat all the time. It's just not how we learn things. We want to allow ourselves a little bit of grace to stuff up every now and then, but we want to keep going, right? Because we're building that habit, we're building that muscle, and we build that muscle, we build that program by running it and rerunning it and rerunning it and rerunning it and perfecting it and getting it right until it feels like it is natural, and we just start doing it on auto repeat, and that's when it becomes a habit for us. All right, so we want to make sure that we're building healthy habits here and not habits that are going to keep us stuck. Keep going even if you have screwed up. It doesn't mean that you're going to screw up your goals completely. You are working on becoming the new version of you, but you don't need to change everything all at once and be in a hurry to get to your goals in order to become the new version of you. You want to allow yourself time. Changing your identity, changing who you are, is the biggest reason why most people self-sabotage too. One, you're fighting against your brain's desire to change because the brain doesn't want to change. It's not energy efficient to change. And two, our identity, we are very married to who we are. We're very married to our current identity, even if we are being someone we don't want to be. It's just that it's familiar and it's comfortable. We know who we are like this. A lot of us who've struggled with weight don't know who we would be at our goal weight. We don't know what that would look like. We don't know what that version of us will be like. We don't know what our habits and our mindset need to look like in order to become that version of us, because it's so far away from who we are today. And so stepping into that identity right now is really challenging. It's really challenging. It's like we have imposter syndrome. It's like, if you are a couch potato and you suddenly want to become, an athlete, and you're told to be an athlete, you need to train like an athlete. Well, yeah, you do, right? But trying to do that off the bat, someone who's a couch potato has no idea how to think, how to be like an athlete, unless they've got someone helping them, right? Unless they've got someone coaching them and telling them, how their mindset, helping them shift their mindset and helping them shift a lot of what they're doing. It can happen, but you need to have a solid understanding of what that version of you at that goal weight looks like, and you need to be 100% committed to yourself every step of the journey in order to make it happen. It is actually easier for you to say to yourself, okay, what does 5 or 10 pound lighter version of me look like? What habits do I need to start changing now in order to become that version of myself? So it's not too far away from who you currently are. That you can imagine. But when you've got a large goal, trying to imagine yourself right at the end, that can be difficult, right? We don't know who that version of us actually is. We don't really know what it takes to get there. Also, on this journey, having someone to help you stay accountable and focused on your goals can also be the difference between continuing to struggle and creating success in your life. If you've got a supportive network around you, friends and family, that can be incredible for you. If you've got somebody who's going on the journey with you, that can be an incredible support as well. However, relying on friends and family doesn't always work. They don't always agree with what we're doing. particularly in this plant-based space. How many of our friends and family are actually on this journey with us? Not in my world anyway. So most of us, are trying to do this on our own in some way, but also relying on other people to be your to be your motivators, to be your support network. Look, that's kind of relying on them to always be on for you. And that's a lot of pressure for other people, because they have their lives, their goals, their priorities. They have their emotional states that are up and down just as much as you. Like, if you're relying on them to help you stay accountable or to stay motivated, it's like they need to be on. They need to be emotionally on all the time for you when you're not emotionally on all the time for you. So, if you can't rely on you to motivate and support you all the time, relying on somebody else outside of you to motivate you and inspire you and keep you going all the time, that's like a step further away from you. If you can't rely on you, you can't really rely on other people in your life to take on that role for you. And this is particularly why working with someone like me, like a coach, working with a program that can help you step through the process of change can be incredibly beneficial, because that is what I do. Like, I am the somebody who is here for you. I'm the somebody who is on for you. That's what I do. That is my role. That is my purpose in this world. So having that person to be that, that motivator, and the person who can guide you through, and who has expertise in a program, all that sort of stuff, that can be the difference between you making the change in your life and helping you make it slowly and staying accountable and motivated on the journey, and you falling off or relying on people who have their own lives and their own goals and priorities going on, right? So um, you can do it on your own. You are completely capable. It might just take you a lot longer, though. It may not. It may not. But I found with myself, I didn't seek help. I didn't seek support. I'd had personal trainers over the time, but that's kind of different to what I was doing with my food and, specifically my weight loss. But it took me a long time to figure out on my own. It took me a long time to figure out where I was going wrong. And it took me a long time to work on what was going on in here, and to unwind all my personal stuff, my self-worth stuff and all the, mental stuff that I was telling myself. It took a long time. I'm talking, I think it was like 10 years to unwind all of that stuff. So it doesn't necessarily need to take you that long, but it can take a lot longer on your own. It does take, being able to stay focused on your own, disciplined, be able to motivate yourself, because you're not going to be motivated every single day. Motivation is an emotion, like happiness, like sadness, that comes and goes. You need to be able to also make those small changes for yourself and stay accountable to it without just slowly sliding back to the old comfortable habits, right? You need to be able to stay motivated to continue with those habits and then keep moving them forward rather than getting stuck and sliding back. And it takes a lot of work to start shifting how you're showing up for yourself, shifting the relationship that you have with yourself, um, and how you speak to yourself, how you see yourself. It takes a lot to try and work your identity, because we are so comfortable comfortable, it's familiar in our current identity. It can be very challenging to try and see ourselves as somebody else. Um, or you can reach out and ask for help, whether that's with me or with somebody else, where you get stepped through a simple process that works. You've got somebody who can help you stay motivated and on track. You've got somebody to help you see your blind spots and where you might be sabotaging yourself, basically, where you can't spot that yourself. Like, these are called blind spots for a reason. When somebody else can see how you're sabotaging yourself, where you can't see it yourself because it's just familiar and it's habit and you just think it's normal. All right. And having somebody to help you come up with strategies to deal with your challenges, and help you past your roadblocks, help you past any I guess, barriers, roadblocks, mental drama that's going on, challenges in your life. That is what can really help you create success in the long run. So I would really love to be the one to help you be one of the 2% of people who create success in their weight loss this year. So if you are determined to make it through February without giving up on yourself, I invite you to book in a call with me. Hold on a moment. I'll just drop in. We'll drop in a link to. Let's just have a chat. If you are wanting to have a chat, I'll just book in drop in the link to book in a chat with me. No obligation, of course, or just drop me your favorite emoji below, and I'll reach out to you in the DMs and we'll have a chat. No obligation, obviously. I don't like, trying to pressure people into doing things that they're either not ready for, or that they don't feel are right for them, or that they can't afford. This is not up to me. This is just about helping you see if this is going to be the right vehicle for you to help you achieve your goals this year. So, but the biggest thing is I want you to just allow yourself to take it slowly, not be in a hurry to create all this change at once because you're in a hurry to get to that goal, right? This is about creating long-term, sustainable, small habit changes that are going to take you gradually towards where you want to be and help you gradually shift who you're being and your identity along the way, right? Too much work in here too soon is overwhelming, and you'll find yourself sabotaging, wanting to quit, wanting a break, and wanting to go back to old comfortable habits because what you're doing is too hard, it's too uncomfortable, and you're sitting in more pain than the pain you were in before you even started. All right, so guys, this February is going to be the month that you blast past your goals. All right, let's make a promise. It's going to be the month you blast past your goals, whether you make a call with me or not. And maybe let's come back next March. Actually, maybe not March. I'm going to be in the US in March. But we'll come back and see how many of you applied the takeouts from this video, and whether you found them helpful. How's that? All right, team. This is your month, Vicky. Yes, that's what I want to hear. Awesome. I will be going. I'm going to do the vegan Caribbean cruise, which leaves from Miami. And then I'm going to visit a few people in various parts. I've got some friends and some family over there: New Orleans, Fort Collins, San Francisco, and I'm not sure if I'll stop anywhere before I go on the cruise, but I want to be back before Easter, so I'm on a really tight schedule. But I might just put a note out there. If anyone is in or around any of those areas, they're more than welcome to come and join me. I'll be spending probably a couple of days in each of those different areas. So if anyone is around and wants to come and join and say hi, more than welcome. I just don't have a lot of time because I don't want to be away from my kitty cat for too long, and I don't want to be away from my clients too long either, because I don't know what sort of Wi-Fi access I'm going to have while I'm away. But I will definitely make sure that I can be coaching all of my clients while I'm away. I just, it will probably be more I don't know, group sessions or something. I just need to work out the Wi-Fi situation. So I don't want to be away from everybody for too long. Okay, so that my friends is it for today. If you've got any more questions, please feel free to dump those into the comments, and I will come back to you. All right, ciao for now.